So thank you all for joining us in the third and final installment of Amalia Consulting's We Mean Business webinar series. My name is Fatima Jimenez. Unfortunately, you can't see me right now, but I am a junior creative strategist at Amalia Consulting. For those of you who are just joining us today, a little bit of background on Amalia Consulting is we are a marketing and PR consulting agency based out of LA and London. We help companies and startups connect with their audience through brand partnerships, PR strategy, and marketing campaigns. We work across fashion, tech, entertainment, social enterprise, and more. So Sarah, my boss and CEO and founder of Amalia Consulting, has been hosting the previous sessions, but we decided that I should host this third one because after the first session on vision, we met with Janet and kind of discussed what our goals and visions were for ourselves and for us within the company. And Samira and I had very similar goals for me. One of those goals is to become a little bit more client-facing. So I have to be comfortable speaking in front of people, pitching to clients, and what better session to host than the one on empowered versus disempowered language. I'm not going to lie, I was very scared when Samira first told me, yeah, you should host the third one. But today we're going to be learning about how to avoid speaking negatively to ourselves in order to reach our goals and fulfill those visions. So Janet, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, absolutely. Great job, Fatima. Hey, everyone. I see some familiar faces. I see some new faces. Hi, Heather. It's good to see you. And we also have my good friend and fellow partner coach at Novus Global, Amanda. Amanda, say hi.
Hello.
Hey, so yeah, there's been some apologies in advance. Zoom's been a little weird for the last few days. At our firm, all we do is on Zoom, so we know everyone's on Zoom now. So it's very interesting to see them managing the bandwidth. So for those of you who are here in the last call, we talked a lot about integrity and commitment. So feel free in the chat. Again, I want the chat to be very interactive. Feel free to post questions, thoughts, comments. For anyone who made a commitment on the last call that would like to celebrate, even if it's, hey, I broke my commitment, that's totally fine. One of the things that we say at Novus Global is the person who outs himself first wins, because it's a great way to participate. So we would just, to make us feel all good inside, we'd love to hear just some updates from you all from the last call. And for those of you who are new, don't worry. I believe that you'll still get a ton out of this session, even if you weren't at session 1 or session 2. So again, this is really fast because we only have 30 minutes and now less than 30 minutes to talk about one of our favorite conversations, which is around language. And I'm going to attempt to share my screen here right now. Let's see how this works. Yep, here we go. Cool. So today we're going to talk about the power of language. So the way I'd like to really quickly introduce this, because hopefully the value is really going to come from what you take and the commitments that you make outside of this session, since this is so quick. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and say this now, because last call I meant to say this and I forgot it. Amanda and I would love to create value for everyone on this call, and by offering free intake calls for everyone that's on this call. It won't be with myself or Amanda, but we have a strong team of coaches behind us. And just thinking about how short these sessions are, we really wanted to provide a way for everyone to experience a call. So if that's something you're interested in, you can go ahead and email me, janet@novus.global, and ask for the free intake call, and I'll connect you with a coach at our firm to do a free 60 to 90, some coaches will do 90 minute, 60 to 90 minute call to experience more and play out more of the stuff that we've been talking about for the last 3 weeks. So, but the power of language, as a way to introduce this, I'm going to put up the first two laws of something called the three laws of performance. For those of you who are interested in this work, I highly recommend checking out a book called the Three Laws of Performance. So the Three Laws of Performance is an incredible book that talks a lot about the power of language when it comes to our behavior. So the first law of performance is our performance is based on how the world occurs to us. So Hannah is one of my favorite books. Love that. So let's even break this down really quick. Our performance, the other way we like to say it, is our behavior. So think about the things that you've done in the last week, the actions that you've taken, your behavior. Has anyone ever had a moment where they've done something, maybe not in the last week, but in the last year, where they've done something and afterwards they said, why did I do that? I know I have. Why did I just do that thing? Right? Sometimes our behavior can be an elusive thing. Why did I do that? Why did I say that thing? Why did I oh, that was stupid, or whatever it is, right? We take these actions, and we have these actions, behavior, how we do something is based on how the world is occurring to us. So the big difference here is it's not our performance is based on how the world is. So the key takeaway from this first law is that most people actually walk around as if their performance, their actions, their behavior is based on outside circumstances. Well, I said that thing because he was being a jerk, right? Or I took that job because I was afraid I wouldn't have any other opportunities, right? Or I stopped too soon and got in the car accident because I was afraid this or whatever, right? So our performance is not based on how the world is, it's based on how it's occurring to us. Now, when I first heard this, I was confused by the word occur. And so another way of saying it is our perspective, right? So the very first webinar, we talked about vision, reality, gap. And we talked about ways that people relate to the gap, right? Maybe fear-based, shame, doubt, et cetera, et cetera. So this is an example of that. So occur equals perspective equals perception. Love that. Thanks for putting that in there, Amanda. And by the way, Amanda's going to be putting stuff in the chat. Feel free to grab that, put it in your notes. So the next part is the second law of performance is things occur to us. So it's like, okay, how do things occur to us? They occur to us based on language. So language, basically the things that we say about ourselves, about others, about the world, right? And so we're going to talk about two types of language today. We're going to go to that in a second. Two types of language today that we're going to talk about. I don't know why it does that. There you go. Are disempowered and empowered language. So in the chat, I would love to hear some examples of both. Let's start with disempowered chat. Sorry, disempowered chat. Disempowered language in the chat. Love it. I have to. Yeah, so what are some phrases or things that we say that occur to you guys as disempowered? This always happens to me. That's a good one. Like always or never. Whoops, why did it do that? I've never used this form of the app before, so I don't know what's happening here. Have to. Always. Never. Okay, had no other choice. Yep, this sucks. I don't know how to. Oh, that. Yep, I'm gonna write that one down because I don't know. I can't. Not good enough. Yep, that's not my problem. Yeah, so blame, not my problem. Great. I'll throw in a few quick ones. They would, if they would, then I. Yeah, that's great. I don't have enough. So it's kind of like the if only. If they did this, then I could do this. If culture was like this, then I would do that, right? Need to, like I need to do this, or I should, or I shouldn't, are big ones. Maybe. try. I'm going to throw some big ones in there. Great. So those are all examples of disempowered language. And so, because it's going to be kind of hard to do this today, let's see. Actually, Amanda, do you have any thoughts on how we could play this? I was going to have them just type it out in the chat, but I think it'd be fun to have everyone put down their disempowered version of their current challenge in the chat.
Yeah, I think, the disempowered beliefs that are, if you were just gonna, I think you can do it in the chat.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So here's how we're going to do it. Go ahead and throw down, and this is where, actually, let's first put empowered language because we want to compare them side by side. So what are some quick examples of empowered language? I will. Wonderful. I can. I get to. Yes. No. Yeah, that's great. Any others? This one tends to be harder when people are coming up with empowered language. I fucking own it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, so any type of ownership language. And actually the other way we describe this is, instead of disempowered and empowered language, it's victim language and ownership language. I choose to, or I choose not to. Yep. What's the opposite of I'll try? Well, in my opinion, we said one of them. I love that. I will, or I commit to, or I don't know yet, but I'm committed to finding out. So that's another way you can use I don't know. So when someone says, well, I don't know, right? But then there's like this kind of, they're giving their power away, right? Versus I don't know, but I'm committed to finding out, which is actually the other one, which is I'm committed. Right? How many times have you invited someone to a party and they've said something of something like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to try to make it," and what does that usually mean? Usually means they're not going to go. Right? I'm excited to, love this, I've got this. Let's see if there's any other good ones. I am, so I am enough. I am. Fill in the blank, my motto. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it anyways. Love it. So choosing to move forward, which is great, Lorenzo. I love that. I am, I commit to, I choose to, I get to, I can, I will, yes, no, beautiful. So, and even some people will put I want in here. I would say I want is actually disempowered because I want a Tesla, but am I committed to getting a Tesla by December? I don't know. I'm not committed to that just yet. But I could want a lot of things. So using commitment language, right? I commit to, or I choose to. You notice we've even already used that last week on the call. We talked about, hey, I'm committed to, not I'm going to try this, or I hope this gets done. Yeah, let's get this done. That's great. So what you're going to do is go ahead and think for a second about your current biggest challenge. So we've got coronavirus going on. People are working from home. Some people are having to homeschool their kids. There's a lot of potential challenges right now. So this is where I want to invite you to get petty, and I want you to put out an example in the chat of your disempowered, of your challenge using only disempowered language. So Amanda, you have a really good one. Can you share your disempowered challenge? You can say no, by the way.
Yeah. So usually mine, when we do this right now, one of my greatest leadership challenges is speaking in public. Janet, do you want me to do the whole thing?
Yeah, do like the 60 to 90-second version of that.
Yeah. So when I was little, I was growing up and I was told that I needed to be seen and not heard, and I would go out for speaking parts in plays or speak up in my voice, and I was told to be quiet or I wouldn't get the role, and I was told to sit back and let other people take the center stage and that they had important things to say. And then I went to college where, for the most part, men got to be up in front of everybody and talk, and I didn't get any opportunities to practice and hone my craft. And then I move out to Los Angeles, and I'm supposed to speak in front of people, but I have like 2 kids, and I'm doing 8 loads of laundry before I get up and talk in front of people, and I can't think straight, and my mind is just going all over the place, and I stutter. And then I have this brother who like speaks all over the place and gets paid a lot, and I know that he wants this for me, and I always disappoint him because I just make mistakes, and I know I'll never be good enough for what he wants me to do, and it's just not worth it to even try. I'll just stay here. I just don't like to fail.
Yeah, great. Woohoo! Yeah, Amanda. Ow! Okay, so that's her Disempowered challenge. And you probably even noticed some energy in there. And this is hard because I usually do this live and I love to hear feedback, and we usually have more time, but I'm gonna speak for you guys this week. So it tends to be when we play this game, and feel free to put your disempowered example in the chat. So what is your current challenge? And throw it in the chat using only disempowered language. And even if it doesn't feel true to you right now, I'd love for you to see what that feels like. So the point of this exercise, and by the way, you can play this with anyone. You can grab a partner after this and do this exercise and think about your challenge, and then say it out loud to your partner and use only disempowered language. And actually, some people just call this friendship. Right? So some people actually are co-conspirators with others. And there's nothing wrong with this, by the way, but we just want to start to pay attention to words and how they make us feel, right? So Amanda, how did it feel to say that just now?
It feels really defeating, I'm sure. How did it feel listening to it? How did it occur to you? How did I occur to you? Go ahead and put that.
Awful. Depressing. So negative, stressed. Yep. Annoying. Yep. Sad, sympathetic. Yeah. Sometimes people are like, oh man, I feel so bad. Or sometimes it's like, it's a variety of different feelings. So we're going to go through this fast. So now, go ahead, Amanda.
It can be contagious, right? Did anybody take that on as far as feeling it a little bit? We step into that, and then we create worlds that are like this, right? And then it invites other people into commiserating with us, and then they're taking on that disempowered way, and we're creating that space for not just for ourselves and for others.
Yeah, absolutely. This creates, like she said, I want to add, this creates cultures too. You probably even notice cultures being created on social media, right? And things that people love. The comments are a great place to look for disempowered language on social media.
Well, I've even been noted, Janet, as you were thinking of even having people, right? Like usually we do this verbally, but and there's a time in like my journal to lament and to honestly talk about how I feel. But I know I can tell it's not about judging it as right or wrong, but I can tell how things are occurring based off of even what I'm writing. Like when I think about my journaling, and just to notice, am I seeing things from an empowered place or a disempowered place? So I think you can even write it out, like just get the disempowered route in your journal if you want to, and then just observe and notice.
That's great. So now, Amanda, and this is the key part of this exercise, if you take this exercise and do it later, which I highly, highly recommend, if you even have a team, this would be a fun thing to play with your team. But now Amanda's going to describe the exact same challenge, not like, oh, now I've overcome it, but she's still going to speak to the challenge, but using only empowered language. So go ahead, Amanda.
Okay. I don't think I can do it sitting down.
Yeah, do it. And yeah, it's funny because the body has energy when
I know. But if I'm gonna all right, okay. So I will be, scratch that. I am a world-class, excellent public communicator. My entire life, I have been studying people and the world, and I truly believe that I have something powerful and a message of hope to say to the world. I am going to create every opportunity for myself to be able to practice and hone my craft. I am going to go to people who I know who are fantastic public communicators, which, praise Jesus, I am related to one, and say, hey, can you give me feedback so I can continue to grow? I am committed to putting myself out there, doing Instagram, IG stories for the first time so that I can practice communicating in front of people. I thank the Lord that I have children who give me such great material of which to share. And my life is full of opportunities and wisdom to be able to communicate to people. And I believe that the world needs it. I am committed to stepping into that for myself and for others, for the impact that I can have on the world. So look out, world. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Woo! Yeah, cool. Well done. Well done. All right. So I love that. Now we're cooking on gas. Go, Amanda. Yeah, great. So how did that make you feel? I see claps. Yep. What's the experience that you had of Amanda that was different, right? Yes, Amanda. And it's fun to play this game. When we do this often with a room full of 50 people, you will actually like viscerally feel the energy in the room shift. At the end of the exercise, usually you see like high fives, right? People are excited. There's almost like a, hey, okay, now I can do this, right? It's contagious. Yep. There's an advocacy. I know when I've played this game with someone else and I've heard their story, there's like a, and let me help you, right? And it creates a domino effect in the other direction. So, and
here's, yeah, as you're talking, just to throw it out there, nothing in my circumstances have changed between one of those stories and the other. They are still, and you could find just as much evidence for one to be true as the other. And at any given moment, I might be living into one of those two stories. So it's not like anything has changed for me in the disempowered language, but it does create a new experience for myself, and things occur to me differently, which means I'm going to behave differently. If that is what I am believing or saying to myself, I will create something new.
Yeah,
but
awesome.
Still the same.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that. And it's a really fun way to play with the power of language. And if you really lean into it, it's kind of a weird feeling. You start to hear things differently. You start to hear yourself differently. What I recommend is even just paying attention. Don't judge your language. If you notice yourself saying words that are on the left side of the screen, they aren't bad words, right? They're just breadcrumbs or clues to how you might be relating to the world around you at that moment. There's one that I do, an example related to my dating life that I always love sharing. I won't share the whole thing, but I just noticed, circumstances never change, but when I was relating to it in a disempowered way, my actions followed. I would avoid going on dating apps. I would avoid reaching out. I would be more judgy of the guys that I was talking to. There was a way I was relating to it, and the breadcrumbs or the clues were how it was showing up in my language. And so please don't underestimate the power of how this influences your actions. Some people will also call this negative and positive. I'm not a big fan of that. In my opinion, this isn't negative talk and positive talk, because you can still be in a really bad situation, we could moralize that, and show up in an empowered way. So to me, it's not like see no evil, hear no evil, but it's what do you want to choose in this moment? Who do you want to be, right? If you look at famous stories like Braveheart and Gladiator and all, I don't know why, those are the two that came up for me. We watched them recently. But they were in dire situations and they chose to be someone, and it created their future. It created history. It created reality, right?
And I think that Janet, that's that is one of the really important pieces, is that we have ownership of our state. And so we can create a disempowered state for ourselves just as much as we can create an empowered state for ourselves. And it's really looking at which actually is the most resourceful state to get you what it is that you want. And again, there's nothing bad about either one. So even my brother, who is a coach, He knows that if he gets a text from me that says, hey, I would like to talk to you about this, it's a sister conversation, he knows that I'm probably going to be disempowered for at least 5 minutes, maybe a little bit more.
Mhm.
And that now is not the time to coach me. But then it's like, okay, I'm ready to shift so sometimes I'll even set a timer for myself. Okay, I'm going to do the disempowered thing for like 2 minutes, and then I'm going to shift and see what I begin to explore as I begin to see things in a new way. So this is a game that you can play with yourself. Friends, like, hey, Rachel, I'm going to victim out for like 5 minutes. Listen's like, I hear you. And then, okay, we're going to shift this and see what we find.
Yeah. Then it's about great. Up until now, this is how I've been showing up. And actually that could be on the empowered side, I think. Up until now. And then it's up until now, I've been, really victiming out or whatever around this. And from now on, I choose this, right? And that's where the I choose, right? From now on, this is what I'm committing to. So this is the third law of performance. If you want to screenshot this, we didn't really go into this as much, but we could actually kind of go in a circle because this third law relates to the first webinar we did around vision, right? And so then that's when it becomes, okay, what's the vision that you have? The future-based language, what am I committed to, right? What do I get to do? What's in my future that's going to shift how things occur to me? Right? When I go from, I don't have as much money as I want and things aren't working out and I lost this and I don't have this to, okay, I'm committed to saving X amount by June 30th. And here's what I'm committed to do to get there. Suddenly it's the future-based language that transforms how I suddenly feel, right? So the biggest thing to notice here is that you are not a victim of your emotions. You are not a victim of your feelings. I'm going to go ahead and stop screen sharing here because we are wrapping up on time. Time goes by so quickly with you guys because we are having so much fun. So we are out of time, but again, like usual, we're going to stay for a few more minutes. For any questions, feel free to put in the chat. You're welcome to leave if you don't have any other questions. Hopefully you take away some tips and tricks to start shifting how the world around you is occurring to you. I see a question. Any tips if you find yourself having trouble believing the empowered language?
Yes. Welcome to the rest of your life.
Yes.
That's kind of part of the fun of it. I've been even talking about the public speaking thing. Gosh, Janet, how many times have we been doing that in trainings? Like 2 years?
Yeah, 2 years.
And it still doesn't feel super real to me. But it is, I think, it's not about like doing it because I believe it. It's the discipline of saying it anyway to begin for my brain to be able to even think that it's possible. Mm-hmm. Like Janet has a boyfriend now after doing all of those talks and talking about her dating. Like, and
yeah, for 2 years I did the disempowered versus empowered language around my dating life. And what was fun about that is it was real. I was up there doing it in front of companies, $1 million companies, talking about my dating life, being super vulnerable. And the more I perfected my empowered language around it, I noticed how it shifted what was available to me. And I know that it's a direct result. So my behavior shifted because of how things were occurring to me. Do you encourage daily affirmations? Absolutely. And actually, so that can kind of go together with the last question too, because to me, Amanda mentioned it's a discipline. This is not something that's one and done. It's like once you said it, all right, that's great. Think of your brain. If anyone's looked into neuroplasticity at all, your brain is malleable. And so if the conversation that you've been having with yourself has been consistently or often one that's disempowered, those are almost like little grooves in your brain that are very comfortable and familiar. So it's going to require building new neural pathways, which means it could look like daily affirmations. It could look like sometimes when I'm talking to Amanda, I'll literally stop myself after saying something and say, actually, I'm committed to that. Right. So I start to notice where I'm, and then I'll pay attention to what's going on internally. Hey, how am I relating to that? And I'll shift my language there. And then just like taking those actions will actually shift your beliefs as well. We talked a lot about beliefs on the first call. This is all related, right? The more that you start to shift your language, even if you don't feel it in the moment, you'll start to notice your feelings will follow.
And it really, sometimes I find in our coaching world, we just talk weird. I talk weird to my kids. So like they know that they don't have to do their homework. They get to do their homework. Makes me really annoying as a mom. Or I don't, like, Xander, I don't need for you to set the table. Will you set the table? And just creating this empowered world and this empowered culture, like even in the little things, or it's like, oh, I can't make that meeting. It's like, I have another commitment. I'm committed to something else during that time. Here's what I will do. And so even in friendships, it's like, I can't come to the party, or I'll try to come to the party. It is like, okay, what am I committed to? What do I choose to do? So I think like the affirmations, I want you to want to do the dishes. We've been talking actually a lot in our house about agency and ownership, and because I would love to have the dishes done, but I care more about them being in an empowered stance, because I know that that's going to affect everything that they do.
That's great. That's really good. Any
Janet,
other questions? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to plug in our socials real quick. If you guys aren't following us already, follow us on Instagram at amalia.consulting. The recording of this webinar should be up on our YouTube channel this week. The YouTube channel is Amalian Miles Away. That's AMALIAN. And if you haven't, sign up for our newsletter as well. Yeah, but if you guys have any more questions for Janet, let us know. You can also message me or Samira.
Yeah, awesome. So I put my email in there again too, if anyone wants to take advantage of a free call with one of our coaches. There's even some people on this call. Obviously, Samira, Hannah's experienced the coaching work. Heather was here a second ago. I don't know if she's still here. Has experienced the coaching work. Highly recommend it. If nothing else, just to explore, like, hey, what do you want right now? Who are you committed to be, and what would be amazing? Let's get you guys into future-based thinking, because the future-based thinking will shift your emotions, will shift your way of being. For those of us who are used to being doers and performers, and if I do this thing, then I'll get this thing, it can be a fantastic exploration to explore like your way of being, like what are you exuding, who are you versus what are you doing. And so thanks Hannah for the shout out. Take the free call. I love it. Whoop, whoop. Cool. But any other questions? Because if not, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up.